Hey kids, you want to see what a guy with little sleep looks like? Good morning. It's probably not morning for you. I have no idea what time this video is going to go up. I'm assuming you're watching it even when it goes up and not at some other point in time, and I'm rambling because I'm going off script. I don't have a script. That's what happens. Good morning. It is 9 o'clock in the morning for me. Is it 9? Yes, just after 9 o'clock on Friday. I have Fate Zero over on my desktop now, rendering out. Or the review for it, rather, which you've probably already seen, maybe commented on, maybe you liked it, maybe you hated it. Don't know. That's a problem for future me to deal with. But I wanted to come here because I only have a little amount of time because I got to get this video put up and then I got to like collapse because I haven't had much sleep in the last like week and a half. But I wanted to do this video because I promised that I would do a video talking about the results of the Review Week of Awesome survey, the original one that I did back in August that started this whole thing. So for those of you in the very far future that have no idea what I'm talking about, over the past week or so, I've released 5 reviews over 5 days. I just picked a week and I was like, Monday to Friday, go! 5 reviews. And it wasn't just any 5 reviews. It wasn't just any 5 anime that I picked. It was anime that I had my viewer base vote on. So I made a survey, and the survey had 50 anime in it, and everybody went and they voted. The survey was set up so that you could vote for however many entries you wanted, but you can only vote once because it filtered by IP addresses and it only allowed people to vote once so that there was no rigging of the votes or any such thing. So that was cool. And that happened back in August. And then I took the results, I bought the anime I didn't own, and then over the course of all fall, I watched them all and I was slowly making the reviews on top of doing the other reviews that I would normally do and did as time passed. So that was a thing. And I said that I wanted to release the results for that survey, and I didn't want to do it immediately because I wanted the winners to be kind of a semi surprise for when I actually announced when the week was going to be. And then I announced when the week was going to be, and people were like, "Well, can we see the results now?" And I'm like, "Sure, but I don't have time to make the video, and I apologize." So now that I'm done, as Fade Zero is over there rendering. I figured that I would sit here and I would record the video. I don't know when I'm going to edit it, so hopefully this isn't too much later than when the Fate Zero goes out. Only a couple of days if I'm lucky. But yeah, I said I was going to do this, so yeah, I'm gonna do this. Okay, so I have the list here in front of me. According to this, although I think the number is wrong, there was a total of 21,063 votes. That's apparently what it was. So. I know a very large chunk of my user base never actually voted because they don't watch my vlogs. They probably won't watch this video, which is, oh well, I tried. I did my best to make sure everybody voted. At the bottom of the list is actually a fun story. At the bottom of the list, the last 2 entries here is Rock Hard of Lodos War, Chronicles of the Heroic Knight with 3 votes, and Digimon Season 1, quote, quote, with 33 votes. And the reason that they're there and they're so low is because about an hour or so after the video went up, or not the video went up, the survey went up, about an hour or so, I realized that I spelt Record of Lodos War wrong, and also that I decided I wanted to change it from saying Digimon Season 1 to just Digimon Adventure. And when I changed it, the survey software added new entries for the corrected spellings and so forth, but didn't copy over the votes, so there wasn't 2 entries. The old ones got removed, but the original votes that were put on it during that first hour never got moved over. So they're at 3 and 33 votes respectively. But they're higher up on the list in the edited versions, and we'll get to that. But the lowest voted thing out of all 50 shows was Nia Under 7 at 220 votes. And that was slightly depressing for me because I knew something had to be at the bottom somewhere, and I kind of figured it might have been Nia Under 7 because it's a not very well-known show. It was done by the guys that did Serial Experiments Lain immediately after they did Serial Experiments Lain, at least if I'm remembering my history of the show correctly, because they did that to kind of recover from everything that was Serial Experiments Lain. So they did this very lighthearted show, and it is literally probably one of the most lighthearted shows I have ever seen in my life. So that it really comes off at that, and that was at the bottom. So that was kind of depressing, but something had to be there. Following that up at 367 votes was Maharomatic, Automatic Maiden. Nice little romantic comedy. Little old, though, and I can see why some people probably never heard of it before. Same with the next thing. At 392 votes was Magical Shopping Arcade Abenabashi, which is really depressing. That's the thing, because everything on this list is something that I really wanted to review. Everything on this list is something that I wanted to talk about in some shape. So here at the bottom of the list, and I'm like, oh, but I really wanted to talk about all those, and I still can, because I can review whatever the hell I want. It's my show. It just means that I didn't get to do it for the review at Blossom, which is depressing. After Abenabashi, at 408 votes, was Shigofumi, Letters from the Departed. It's about a girl who takes letters from dead people and delivers it to people who are still alive. And there's wonderful little individual stories going on there, as well as an overarching plot itself. Above that, oddly, for me, I actually thought this was going to be the one at the bottom of the list, but for 433 votes, Gunsmith Cats. If you've never heard of Gunsmith Cats, I don't blame you. It's a little bit old by most people's standards, but still, I really wanted to review it because I like going far back in some cases to find what I think are just those really interesting series that some people probably won't watch anymore because of how old they are. But things like that. Also, above that, at actual 518 votes, which is probably actually 521 votes, is the actual entry for Record of Lodoss War Chronicles of the Heroic Knight. And Record of Lodoss War is a weird series in that it's very it's like Slayers but without the comedy. So I may have lost a bunch of people by saying that, but it's kind of what it is. It's an old fantasy anime. It's not really comedy. It's like actual fantasy. It is literally a Dungeons and Dragons game, but old school. Like 80s, 90s old school. So that's cool. After that, at 621, we had I, My, Me, Strawberry Eggs. A story about a teacher who tries to get a job at a school, but doesn't get the job because they only hire female teachers. So he cross-dresses. As you do, apparently. And it was a wonderful comedy, and I wanted to review it. And I probably still review it at some point. Just don't know when. Above that, at 631 votes, was Noeen. I can't really explain Noeen. It's not something I can do, because it's Noeen. I can't even sum that up. So above that, at 635 votes, was Moribito. And Moribito, I haven't watched Moribito, but my impressions of it out of what I've seen is it's from the guys that did Ghost in the Shell, and I don't really know what it's about. That's why I kind of put it on the list, because I've been really curious, but I haven't had the time to actually sit down and watch it, nor actually look it up. And the main character looks like the Major. She does, but it's like it's not in modern day. It's like, I don't know if it's close to feudal era kind of setting, or maybe it's a fantasy world. I haven't seen it, so I'm looking forward to eventually getting around to it. It's been on my to watch list for a while. And then above that, at 863 votes, we had Kari Kana, His and Her Circumstances, the romance from Gainax that Hideki Ono, the guy that did the people that did Neon Genesis Evangelion. They did a romantic comedy, His and Her Circumstances. It's just, when you realize that those guys did Eva, it's just hilarious to look at. And apparently they didn't learn from Eva, because the ending still has similar problems with the lack of production budget. And I dropped a pen. This is what happens, like, when I'm off script. When I don't have a script to go off, like, weird shit like this happens. I should make a blooper reel, although most of it would be me saying, like, well, the animation was, and that's what it is. It would just be me pausing, going, fuck, and then doing the line again. That's what it is. Usually coming in from this side, going, fuck, okay, and that's why there's this motion here, because there's like nothing. I have no space to walk here, but I have tons of space over here because there's a wall. So I just like come in and so I like say something, and I'm like, fuck, and then I just like back off a bit, and I'm like, and that's cool. So where was I? That was a side tangent. At 955 votes, we had Nodame Cantabile, which you may remember is one of the recommended anime that I put in for Toradora. And I keep hitting the mic stand, so if that picks up in the mic audio, I apologize. Again, off script, as these vlogs tend to be. Let me put this pen here. Actually, I'll just put it in my pocket so I don't fuck around with it. Nodame Cantabile at 955 votes. So that was something. That would have been really interesting if that and Toradora was in there, because I would have recommended it in both, like each other. And it just would have been weird. At 958 votes was Heaven's Memo Pad, or Kami-sama no Menmocho, I believe is the Japanese pronunciation, although I usually butcher those things, so that's cool. Got that on Blu-ray. I wanted to review it. Still probably will, as with most of the things on this list. At exactly 1,000 votes, we had Cromartie High School, which I don't even think I can explain Cromartie. It's a special kind of something. It's a special snowflake. Cromartie High School is a special snowflake. And at 1,068 votes, we had Noir, which is, I haven't seen all of it, but so this is probably a horrible description, but it's kind of like if Yuki Nagato was James Bond, sort of. Or maybe if it was Lane was James Bond. I don't know. Either way, it's a really interesting, weird series with espionage and a bunch of other things. From what I gather, again, haven't finished watching it. I haven't really actually started. It's been sitting on my shelf for over a year. I need to get to that, as with most things on this list. As I've said like 5 times now, and you're probably getting bored of me saying that, as with most things on this list, but hopefully it gets that through your heads that majority of things on this list I want to review and probably will at some point. So that's a thing that's happening. At 1,126 votes, we had The Visions of Escaflowne. Vision of Escaflowne, that's the Escaflowne TV series, not the film. Though I would probably review the film at the same time, or maybe not in the same video. Yeah, it deserves 2 separate reviews, but that's a thing. 1,209 votes was Hayore Naruko-san, which is basically Lovecraft mythos with personified versions of his characters. So Nyaruko-san was Nyaruko, and then there was Haster, and there was a representation of Cthulhu, and things like that, all as females that just happen to like this one guy and hang around him for unexplained reason. It's a weird comedy harem type thing. Speaking of comedy harems, at 1,275, Negima, which I believe I specified that it was going to be Negima Season 2. I'm not sure if that is specified by the exclamation question mark, because I think that's how Negima determines between the seasons, is how much is what it puts at the end of it. What it pronunciation? No, I think Negima does it by like it's too early in the morning. Not pronunciation, punctuation. It's the word I'm looking for, punctuation. The punctuation at the end of the title is how it determines what season it is, but it would be Season 2, the one that Funimation has, and I could actually buy. Above that, at 1,290 votes, was Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust, which I recently rewatched for Halloween, because it's a good thing to watch on Halloween, as well as Cowboy Bebop, Knocking on Heaven's Door. Also, very good Halloween film. And above that, at 1,324, was Natsume's Book of Friends. And I've just heard a lot of really good things on that one, so I wanted an excuse to actually find out what people were talking about and put that on the list. So that'll come out eventually, as with everything else. At 1,437 votes, we had Rosen Maiden. I'm going to leave that in. I had a burp. And that's the kind of thing I deal with when I'm recording. Normally, I would probably re-record that line. But it wasn't a line. I don't even know the last time I cut at all in this video. That's for future me that's editing this to deal with, or past me for the people that are watching it, because he's already edited by this point. Where was I? Natsume's Book of Friends, Rosen Maiden, and at 1,495 we had Sergeant Frog, which got a shout out in The Devil is a Part-Timer review, because Sergeant Frog, oh my god, Sergeant Frog, I really hope they continue to dub that, because that's an amazing dub. Sergeant Frog, seriously. At 1,504 we had Camphor, which is an interesting Magic Girl series, I guess. And the next series, if I can scroll up without getting too many smudges on the screen here. The next series, at 1,514 votes, leaves me in despair! Because it got so far down the list, and that's Sayonara Zetsubo Sensei. I really want to do Sayonara Zetsubo Sensei. I should just do it. I should just sit down and be like, nope, this week, Zetsubo Sensei. Just fuck it. Fuck whatever else I was gonna do. Nah, I don't need to do Fullmetal Alchemist. I'll do Sensei. Zetsubo Sensei. No, but I gotta get around to FMA eventually. Anyway, 1,609 votes. Razafon, which was Bones' answer to Evangelion, sort of, but had a bit more of a romantic bent to it, and I really need to rewatch it. It's been a long freaking time. I barely remember that one. 1,627 votes. Princess Jellyfish. If you've never seen Princess Jellyfish, go do it. I'm not gonna explain why. Just go do it. 1,774, Medaka Box, or Medaka Box. However you want to pronounce that. I only watched a couple episodes of that back when it was airing, because I did a blog post back when I was doing daily blog posts on that instead of videos, for first reaction videos. This is a long time ago. And I didn't really see what the whole big deal is, but then I got a second season, so apparently some people like that show, and I was like, okay, whatever. And at 1,775, a classic comedy series known as Azumanga Dao. Which again I will get around to eventually. The next two are interesting because they tied at 1,838 votes each, which was Romeo x Juliet and Squid Girl. Squid Girl, I mentioned in... What did I mention Squid Girl? Shit. No, that was also in Devil is a Part-Time. No, that was in Devil's in a Part-Timer. Yeah, that was Squid Girl because it's about a girl who's a squid and she comes to a beach wanting to conquer the world and she doesn't get past the beach because comedy. So, and then Romeo X Juliet is, I think it was made or is some relation to the adaptation of Gankutsuo, the Count of Monte Cristo, just for Romeo and Juliet. And that was an interesting take on the story. At 1,868 votes, we had Gunslinger Girl. I don't have a description for Gunslinger Girl. I really should though. I should, but I don't because I haven't watched it yet. I don't even own Gunslinger Girl. Or do I? Someone told me they wanted to send it to me. Like a friend of mine told me they want to send it to me. I'll have to talk to him about that. 2020 votes. Perfect Blue. Satoshi Kon's Perfect Blue. Very interesting film. Very interesting film. Need to talk about that. Also, film at 2,200 was Sword of the Stranger, which I haven't watched. As with, again, a lot of the things on the list are things that I wanted to watch and needed an excuse for. So, Sword of the Stranger, good. 2,292 was Shakugan no Shana. And I just put Shana on the list, so I actually think I meant all 3 seasons of it. Not sure if I could actually do that one as multiple reviews. Though, the seasons are different enough where I probably could pull that off. So that was Shana. At 2,619 votes, we had Season 1 of Familiar of Zero. Which is funny because that and Shana are right next to each other, and Tsundere and stuff. It would have been really weird if those two and Toradora were in the top 5, because I would probably just had to put my foot down and be like, nope, we're not doing all 3. It's not happening. But I didn't have to worry about that. At 2,753, we have Darker Than Black, A Gemini of the Meteor, which is the second season of Darker Than Black that a lot of the fans of the first season of Darker Than Black apparently hated a lot, and because it was so different. Yeah, so that was a thing. And finally we got to actual Digimon Adventure, not fake Digimon Season 1, and that was at 2,768 votes for Digimon Adventure. And that's probably something I'm going to do eventually just for, like, nostalgia reasons. Like, duh, at some point. Plus, especially since the new one's coming out, apparently. Because that's a thing. There's a new one that's coming out. Okay, there we go. Had to empty the memory card because it filled. Forgot to empty it. I forgot to empty it after the last time I did this. So, that was the thing. Where was I? Right, at 3,003 votes, we had Hetalia X's Powers, which... If you don't know where this jacket's from, the mangaka of Hetalia X's Powers did a quick sketch of her version of Canada, or her anthropomorphized version of Canada, I think is the proper term. And he had a uniform on that was basically this, because that was the reference material I gave to the guy that made this coat. And that was kind of her version of a mountie uniform. Although honestly, it's not really a mountie uniform. It's more so closer to what the guards at Buckingham Palace in Britain use. But that doesn't stop it from being really cool. So I liked the jacket, and I was just like, "Can you make me this jacket?" And the guy was like, "Sure, give me like some money." And I gave him some money, and he made me a coat. And that's how that worked. I really need to get this either replaced or fixed up because there are problems with it. But like I'm stretching the fabric and stuff when I raise shit over my heads and things. I gave him horrible measurements of myself. But yeah. Anyway, where was I? Okay, next at 3,654 votes was Hiroka. I'm curious why that didn't rate higher. Well, it's because everything else above it rated higher, obviously. Nice series by Kyoto Annie. Very good. At 4,176 votes, we had Eureka 7, which was the 11th highest voted. We're now about to hit the 10th highest voted. The 10th highest voted for the Review Week of Awesome at 4,294 votes was Free. That was there. Number 9 at 4,479 votes was Pokemon. Number 8 at 4,817 was Berserk. Number 7 at 4,833 votes was Excel World. Number 6 at 4,989 votes was Fairy Tail. The first 48 episodes only, because that's all I was going to touch, because Fairy Tail is very long. And this is the original Fairy Tail, not the remake version that came out more recently. And that was 4,989. And then at 5,154, we hit Watamode. 5,627 was Devil as a Part-Timer, 6,236 was Trigun, 7,786 was Toradora, and finally with 8,613 votes was Fate Zero. A total of 40% of the whole total votes was Fate Zero. You guys really wanted me to review Fate Zero. I really hope that that review that's currently rendering over there is good enough. Because that's a lot of pressure. It's probably crap. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Like all my reviews, they're crap. As some people in the comments have told me countless times. But I endure somehow. But yeah, that's the results. We're done. We're done with the results. I'm still trying to wake up because it's still early in the morning for me, and I got to make sure that that video goes up all right. But yeah, no, that was the review week of awesome. I hope it was worth it. I hope you guys liked it. Like, tell me down in the comments what you guys thought of the review week of awesome. If you thought it was a good idea, if you thought it was worth it, if you thought it was worth the wait. There was a really big reason why I never wanted to actually give a date on the review week of awesome, mainly because I didn't want to say, oh, it'll be this time, because I knew it was going to get delayed from the original plan. The original plan was actually to have it, I think, in the first week of November, and then it kept getting pushed back as various things kept happening, and then eventually it just got pushed back to the first week of December. And yeah, that's where we are today. So that's cool. And I already had somebody ask, I think it was on Monday when Watamote went up, that somebody asked, so where can I vote for the next review week of awesome? That's the thing, because I really enjoyed doing this. It was a lot of fun, but at the same time, it's very hectic, and I've been working nonstop for the last like 2 or 3 weeks now. On top of all the work that I've been doing over the course of the fall, on top of the other reviews that I've been doing. So I look at that and it's just like, they think there's gonna be another one. And of course there probably will be, because I'm an insane crazy person. I just don't know when there's gonna be another one. Thinking about it, and again, and I want to stress this, nothing is set in stone until I say it is. Anything I talk about in this video about any future review week of awesome does not mean that it'll ever happen. For all you know, I will never do this again. It's probably not true, but for all you know, I never will. So don't take anything I say totally seriously or like as written law. If I was to do another one as soon as possible, even as soon as possible, I probably wouldn't do a voting until February, because December is shot. It just is, because my December is Christmas, and I spend a lot of time with my family and friends and so forth, and celebrating Christmas and spending time with them when I can't do so during the year. And then January is just January, where you're recovering from Christmas, and I'm trying to build up. And also in January, I have my 6-year anniversary from reviewing. That's a thing that's coming out. I have no idea how I'm going to celebrate it. I don't even think I celebrated it last year, which is really sad, because last year was 5 years, which is kind of a landmark year. So we'll make up for that by doing 6 years. I don't know what I'm going to review for it yet. I'll review something. I'll come up with something, and it'll hopefully be okay. And then I might do, maybe if I feel brave, I'll do a public live stream on YouTube for people. It's been a while since I've done a public one, because I do my gaming stream every Tuesday. And if you're a patron on Patreon, I do, or try to do, one every month for those guys. But if I was going to do a public one, I might do it for 6 years at the end of January. Not sure. Don't hold me on anything like this. This is just ideas that I'm just throwing out of things that could potentially happen. I just have no idea about the logistics of any of it. So that's something that could happen. And yeah, now I'm getting to the point where I'm just rambling. So let me know in the comments what you thought of the review of awesome. Let me know if you tell. Oh, hello. That was weird. I don't know if the mic's picking that up, but whatever. So let me know what you thought in the comments of the review of awesome. Let me know if you think this is a good idea. To answer your immediate question, yes, the things on the list that I haven't reviewed, I probably will at some point. Just don't ask me when. And we'll come up with something eventually. So yeah. That's the other problem with being off script, is that I have no idea how to end these videos. I just kind of meander and rant like I'm doing right now. I might take a sip of water again. Like that. But yeah, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed Fate Zero, because you've seen it and I've still got to render it, so that hopefully works out. And yeah, and enjoy the rest of your week and the rest of the month. And with any luck, I should have at least one more review up before Christmas. I'm trying to figure out some sort of Christmassy kind of thing to do, and I think I know what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna go do that. at some point, and I'm going to recoup over the next day or so from the last 2.5 weeks of hecticness, and then Christmas. So yeah, enjoy your December, and until I see you guys next time, whenever that may be, stay frosty. Later.